State-run airlines are normally outdated, hopelessly unprofitable, dangerously overstaffed with unmotivated and shitty service. Today, we get to say Xin chào hãng hàng không quốc gia Việt Nam, the government-owned flag carrier of Vietnam. And it's time to shatter some of these myths.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
A very good morning to all of you, and I'm coming to you from an absolutely freezing London Heathrow Terminal 4. So why am I dressed in a t-shirt and shorts? That's because I'm heading to the tropics. I'm heading south to somewhere warmer. Today I'm flying from London Heathrow to Ho Chi Minh City with Vietnam Airlines in economy class. So this is the start of a roughly 35-hour journey, which takes me back to Melbourne in Australia. So I'm eager to get this journey started. So let's do this.
Everybody just do your thing.
Bloody hell! A 35-hour journey in economy class. This is one surefire way to torture yourself. But one of the best ways to test out how good an airline is to fly them right at the back of the aircraft, because this is where majority of the passengers end up. So this trip came with a 16-hour layover in Ho Chi Minh City. Needless to say, this would be one eventful, soul-zapping, patience-testing, royal pain of one jet-lag journey back to Australia. But I am always game for this kind of punishment, all for the sake of content creation. If you're new to my channel, my name's Ryan. Born and bred in Singapore, I now call Australia home, and I create heaps of travel and foodie content. This trip is a small part of a wider travel series which sees us set foot in 7 countries over 2.5 weeks. Our first stop was Singapore, where we went to France and then ended up in Malta, where we'd spend most of our time in. From there, we traveled through Italy, Switzerland, UK, and finally Vietnam before returning home to Australia. So this travel series will include heaps of flight reviews, train journeys, and destination vlogs to last a few months, and they will be linked in the description below as and when they're published. If you don't wish to miss any episodes, make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell icon so you'll get notified whenever they go to air. Giving me a like will encourage me to keep content flowing. So here's a thanks, because your support is very much appreciated.
Check-in done. That took a whopping 45 minutes standing in line, and the line is still there. This is what happens when you're flying an airline with no priority in economy class. Yeah, but hey, it's nice to experience an airline outside the One World Alliance, because that's what I normally fly, One World Airlines. But this trip back to Australia, this marathon 36-hour journey via Ho Chi Minh City, it's on Vietnam Airlines. And I'm pretty excited because I've never flown them before, so I can't wait to experience what it is like to fly on Vietnam Airlines. So let's go for the first leg between London and Ho Chi Minh City. Let's do this!
Hãng hàng không quốc gia Vietnam literally translates into Vietnam National Airlines, was formed in 1956 during the Vietnam War. The post-war development of the carrier limped along severely restricted by serious trade embargoes in place by the US. So the airline operated Soviet-made civilian aircraft which did not meet noise restrictions requirements in many airports, which kinda limited their network. This embargo was lifted in 1994, and that allowed Vietnam Airlines to acquire Western-made aircraft to begin their modernization process. This began with the Airbus A320. The acquisition of Boeing 767s soon allowed VN to expand their reach to Europe And by the time Y2K came about, the airline had 777s in their fleet purchased directly from Boeing. Today, we're looking at an airline with a fleet of modern aircraft types. Their short-haul operations taken care of by the Airbus A320s and A321s, with the medium and long-haul flights done by Dreamliners and the Airbus A350s. As of June 2010, Vietnam Airlines has been a member of the SkyTeam Alliance, further enhancing their reach across the globe. I've been to Heathrow Terminal 4 a couple of times, mainly flying Malaysia Airlines. I've always found this terminal to be functional, and it's like instant 5-minute noodles. It gets you from point A to point B, it gets the job done, and there's nothing pretty about it. There are shops randomly placed about, and some windows to look at the planes outside. But the gates like mine this morning had no view of the aircraft I'd be flying on. Seated at the rear of economy class, we get to board the aircraft first, which is always welcomed. And yes, you saw a boombox which was being used to make announcements because there was seriously a lot of it. Vietnam Airlines caters mainly to overseas Vietnamese, and I noticed they did not necessarily have the discipline to follow instructions. Agents were calling out numerous times in Vietnamese for certain row numbers to present themselves, priority flyers, passengers needing assistance, so on and so forth. But everyone just heaved forwards regardless of what the announcements were. So many passengers were turned away, and this created unnecessary bottleneck at the boarding gate. The chariot assigned for flight VN50 from London Heathrow to Ho Chi Minh City was Victor November Alpha 867, a Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner which first flew in April 2016. It was delivered directly to Vietnam Airlines, making her just over 8 years old at the time of writing. The extremely polite greeting at the door was an excellent precursor to the flight ahead. Welcome on board the long-haul configured Dreamliner of Vietnam Airlines. It includes 28 business class seats in a reverse herringbone configuration, and we're now looking at the premium economy cabin with a 232 layout and a capacity for 35 bums. But we're back here where the cheap seats are. Economy class is a 333 layout for 211 passengers. I was ushered to my cabin further back where I saw more flight attendants, and they were very welcoming and treated older passengers with extra care. I like what I see. This was my home for the next 13 hours. Placed on the seat were your standard long-haul items of a pillow, blanket, and a pair of headphones. A rather sizable TV was showing lots of ads, but I appreciated the Vietnamese content in there. The tray table can be folded in half and moved back and forth, which is awesome. Controls for the overhead panel is in a silly location. But just as well, my reading lamp was out of action, so there would be no accidental activation in flight. This recline is almost a premium economy level, very impressive. And together with the adjustable headrest and this advertised seat pitch of 32 inches, I'll let you guys decide if it's really way more than that. You know this airline means business when there is a hot towel service before pushback here in economy class. The last time I experienced this was with Singapore Airlines. And just like the TV shopping network, just when you think this is all you're gonna get, wait, there's more. We're soon given bottles of water, a pre-departure drink. Shit. Even Singapore Airlines don't do that. After 2.5 weeks, I was finally saying goodbye to Europe and heading towards warmer climates. Our flight path would take us across Europe towards Turkey, Iraq, Pakistan, and then skimming over the northern regions of India. We would fly over the Bay of Bengal for a wee bit before seeing landfall over Myanmar, then flying over Thailand, Cambodia, and finally arriving into Ho Chi Minh City after 12 hours 45 minutes, clocking a distance of just over 10,300 kilometers. Flying in this direction from London towards Asia, you'd normally have the City of London just outside the left side of the aircraft on a clear day. Sadly, no such luck today. And since the sun would be setting very quickly behind us, the electronic window shades would soon be locked in its darkest tint as an imaginary finger started wagging in front of our faces, reminding us to go to sleep after breakfast. Speaking of which, the meal service started in earnest, and we had two choices of fish with potatoes or beef with rice. A full meal tray service on Vietnam Airlines is what I consider old school. So it still has the full complement of a starter of ham, potato salad and leafy greens, a dessert, my drink of choice, a bread roll with butter, a packet of mixed nuts, a wine glass, and this was my choice of fish with potatoes, because it was the only option left. Not that I'm complaining, because this creamy sauce you see here was actually some kind of green curry. So it had a kick to it, and I pity those passengers who only have a Western palate, thinking they'd avoid the beef with rice and choosing the fish, only to have a spicy punch kick them in the guts. It was so good I finished everything on the tray. In fact, I actually asked for a second serve of the fish. You know, call me a pig, but that meal hardly filled me at all, even though I finished everything. So I asked the crew if there's any more extra meals left, and voila! Well, that's the only thing they have left, fish with potatoes. They ran out of beef. They ran out of beef with noodles. So I'm gonna devour this and go to sleep. At least I'll try to go to sleep. After brekkie, there was the impossible task of trying to adjust our body clocks from Europe to another country half a world away. Flying east, it meant we needed to be fast asleep right about now. So I thought I'd fire up a boring comedy to lull myself to slumberland. We all have our preconceived notions of Vietnam as a country. But the IFE contained programs which were uncensored, filled with what we think might be controversial social topics for a country like Vietnam. And oh, the F-bombs aren't bleeped out as well. I ended up laughing myself to tears with the film Joyride and got absolutely no sleep whatsoever. With the cabin fully darkened, this did not mean the cabin crew nodded off to sleep as well. Every other hour, they would be passing up and down the aisle with drinks and a snack basket which contained packets of biscuits and sandwiches. Being the pig that I am, I asked if they had anything more substantial because my tummy was strangely rumbling from hunger again. Would you like cup noodles? Now that's a question I love to hear no matter what time of the day. Can you believe I had 2 serves of this? Over the Bay of Bengal, lights were turned on in preparation for the second meal service. Lo and behold, this also meant a second hot towel service. Damn, I could get used to this again. My family traveled very extensively throughout the 70s and 80s, and this sort of hot towels in economy class was the norm, at least on the airlines we flew with. These days, we might get a packet of wet wipes if we're lucky. The second meal service was another full works of a multi-option, multi-course tray of food. Hubby, being the bar of white chocolate he is, went for the Western option of eggs, sausage, potatoes and beans. I've endured over 2 weeks of ham cheese yogurt fruits cereal on repeat for brekkie, so I was only too happy to get the noodles with some succulent slices of roast pork, otherwise known as char siu to a Ching Chong Chinaman like me. It came with a bread roll and butter, a bowl of fruits, strawberry yogurt, and our choice of drink. Tea and coffee service followed closely after. The immediate relief of having my first Asian meal after so long was indescribable. The noodles were very well seasoned with soy, garlic, and sugar, an absolutely comforting combination which made me feel like home once again. And the roast pork, oh my god, I will never ever take you for granted again. So while I savor the moment of this grateful situation, slurping on my noodles, it's time for me to reflect on this first flight with Vietnam Airlines. I have both great and not so great opinions about the first experience, so let's do the bad bits first and get it out of the way. Look, I wasn't expecting luxury because Vietnam Airlines isn't widely known to be top tier. In fact, some of their harshest critics come from Vietnamese themselves. Unanimous reactions from my friends who are Vietnamese when I told them about this flight was, why? One of the first drawbacks I observed was their IFE. While the software was snappy and responsive, the content was very lacking and left a lot to be desired. So my advice is make sure you download enough of Netflix before you fly them. And the ads, so many of them. Before we pushed back, while we were descending, before you start a movie, every opportunity was there to showcase every imaginable product there was in Vietnam. But they looked more like business-to-business ads rather than direct consumer campaigns though. But really, that's where my negative opinions end. You'll see the flight attendants bowing to signify the end of the in-flight service as a message of thanks by the cabin manager came over the blower. These members of the cabin crew did not miss a beat. I must admit, my expectations were very lowered, but I was blown away by how engaging they were. They always had a smile on them, and any notions of the reserved nature of the Vietnamese were thrown out of the window, because the banter was ping-ponging back and forth. For those who chose to engage, they spoke with a very heavy North American accent. So we were offered a bottle of water, tea, coffee with milk and sugar, and the service delivered with a gentle grin which would melt even the hardest of hearts. And their demeanor when dealing with passengers who needed that extra attention was really awesome to watch. You just cannot teach these things in school, so I boil it down to a cultural norm. And the meals. Definitely an insane 10 out of 10 in my books. And with that said and done, it's time for us to prepare for arrival into sân bay quốc tế Tân Sơn Nhất.
And hi guys, this is Tan Son Nhat International Airport in Ho Chi Minh City. And that was my experience, my very first experience with Vietnam Airlines. So do you agree with my comments on the flight? Have you flown them before? Let me know in the comments because I'm pretty eager to hear from you. So anyway, in the meantime, I've chucked details of my Instagram on your screen right now. So hit me up there and chuck me a follow so you can actually see where am I traveling to in real time. And it also gives you an idea of the type of videos that will be coming up on my YouTube channel. And of course, more importantly, do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon. And I will see you for the next installment of this eventful travel series of mine. Alright, take care all of you, and I'll see you guys around. Bye!